Hey everyone, welcome back to the Beauty School Bobbi podcast. Today I am here with this gorgeous, gorgeous girl, Kendra Matthies. Kendra, welcome to the show.
Hi, Bobbi. It's so good to see you again.
I know, I miss you and you look so beautiful.
Thank you so much.
Your blush, by the way, as soon as you came on, I was like, ugh, perfect. Like she's a star.
Thank you.
I know so many people that are listening know you already, but what I love about you and what is so different is we have so many hair talk influencers. You scooted your way in there into hair talk with makeup.
Yeah, I don't really know how that kind of worked out. I kind of was just like adopted by the hair talk people. And now I'm just this little like subcategory of makeup, but I love it. It's so fun.
It's so fun. And the content that you create does follow a lot of what the hair talk influencers are doing. But I love that you made this your own. And I think that it's so important to like really create your own space and like create your own niche. So you and I got to meet at America's Beauty Show. So as we've been talking about on other episodes, America's Beauty Show is coming up. So we are just we're days away. Are we months, like days? Like, I don't even know where we are. I think we're like weeks. Let's say weeks.
Not too far. Like weeks away. Yeah.
And I'm so excited to be all together again. So I kind of want to start just like from the beginning. How did this all happen that you got asked to be a part of America's Beauty Show? And how did it evolve into what it is now, where you're a way bigger part of the show and other beauty shows as well, but America's Beauty Show specifically? How did that all happen?
So I actually attended America's Beauty Show before I was ever invited. I just attended it, and I went there because so many of my hair talk friends were going to be there, and some of them were actually invited people from America's Beauty Show, and I wanted to go and support. And also, I never got to do stuff like this before. I was always so busy with weddings that I would just take every wedding and not give myself a break. And because of how far out they put out the schedule, I was like, I can actually go and do this and meet my friends. And I showed up, honestly, not really knowing what to expect, because we've all heard from other people, like, you meet people that you know online and they're not the same, and it's just hard. And I feel like there's this whole stigma around the beauty world that people are just really catty and really mean, and it's not a lot of support, and it's just very like cutthroat. But I found that to be the complete opposite. I was welcomed with open arms. My friends who were invited people of the show let some of the people know there that like I also did social media and things like that. And so they were able to let me come be a part of certain events like the Global Image Awards. I was able to kind of sit with them and stuff like that. And I think that that's kind of how I was able to get my foot in the door, is I was just being so close with my friends, and I was being able to show myself, I guess. And I must have made some sort of impression with Frank, because I got to meet him very briefly. And next thing I knew, I was getting asked to come to the next show.
That's so awesome. And it speaks so much to what we say is so great about this show, is that it is all networking. And I love that you said you showed up just to attend, just to support your friends. And then this happened. So I'm a really big believer in doing those things and taking those steps. Maybe you're not, the one that first year, they were trying something new out by inviting the influencers. And this was all like such a new thing. But for you to just be there and be like, you know what, like then that door open for you, which is so amazing. And I just think like taking that one little step outside of your comfort zone to do that is so awesome.
Absolutely, because I won't lie, I went back and forth in my head, like, do I do this? I talked to these people like Teresa. I talked to them very often. Teresa was one of the first ones that we actually like talked back and forth online. And I'm like, man, do I try to do this, or am I just going to embarrass myself? Is this just going to be like dumb and I'm going to show up and look stupid? but it was not that way at all. I was so, like I said, welcomed by all the Hair Talk people. The America's Beauty Show people made me feel very welcome too. And just the overall experience, not even being there like an attendee, like invited person, but just as an attendee, was just so great because I've never been to something like that before. And it was kind of just like this, wow, I'm in this room of people who just get it. Like, I'm in this room of people who all feel the same way that I do about beauty and about, as we're seeing now, more like mental health within this industry and like business tips and things like that. Like, everybody just gets it. And I don't know, it's just like being in the room with everybody who feels the same way as you do. It just gives you this little spark.
It is something so special. And I haven't gone to a ton of hair shows. So I know that everything that I do is based off of our time at America's Beauty Show. But like from the first time we went, again, same as you, Kendra, the first year we just showed up. Like we were like, we want to cover this. We really didn't have our businesses set yet of what we were going to be doing. But as soon as we were there, like that moment of like doors open and you're all together and there's just like this craziness that happens the whole weekend and you really do find your people. It's like the paths cross with who you're supposed to see there. The paths cross with like who you're supposed to meet there. And I think there's just something really, really special around it that is different. So are you teaching a class this year?
I am teaching a class. I'm actually teaching a one class, but 2 different days. So it's another opportunity too, just in case some people aren't coming, for specific days or whatnot. I'll be teaching it 2 different days. So it is creating a luminous, long wearing complexion. And it's kind of just a class that's going to be great for, like it says, basically just something that's long wearing. It's just something you can have in your back pocket to always feel comfortable about, for if you're doing makeup for any sort of special event, that you can create this luminous look that's just going to last. And I'm really excited because my mom is actually going to be my model. I call her my mom doll.
Aww.
And she is coming, which I think is super fun too, because we're going to not only be able to showcase that this look, works and what the different techniques will be, but that it works for a wide array of like age groups. So over 50, it'll even look great. So I think that it's going to be a really fun class. I did a class last year on mastering mature skin for special events. So this is kind of just like an elevation of that. And I think that a lot of people, like I heard last year, that took good notes from that are going to be able to get some good notes from this too. Just because I feel like there is that little bit of lacking when it comes to actual like makeup courses, especially in person, where you can ask for feedback. So I'm excited to be able to do that.
That's so awesome. How did you decide what content that you were going to teach? Was it just from kind of the questions that you get asked on social media? Is that kind of how you pulled, or were people asking for more of it? You all are riding this line of like, you are experts in 2 different areas, right? So you are trained and you're a makeup artist and that's what your videos are about. So you have this skill, right? But then you also have this other skill set that is social media and content creation and all of that. How did you choose what you were going to teach?
So America's Beauty Show asked, and they also told me that the feedback from last year was people were very happy with classes that were actual like demonstrations. They loved the social media classes as well, but they were just looking for more demonstrations. And since I did one last year, they were very happy to ask again this year if I would do another demonstration. And so then I kind of just put my feelers out there on my Instagram, asking people like, hey, I know some of you guys know that I do classes throughout the year. What are some that you would like to see? And that was definitely one of the biggest asked for classes, was how do I create a look that's long wearing but still luminous? I don't want it to be fully matte. Like, I just want something that's a little bit more radiant. Kind of what, I guess more of the better way to say it would be, how do I create that bridal complexion, which I feel like works so well for a bunch of different events and whatnot. So it felt like the perfect class to teach because so many people are asking for it.
And I think that subject of the more mature skin. So, like when we're watching influencers online or we're learning tips and tricks, right? Like wherever it is that you're getting your tips and tricks, it's not always the mature skinned influencers that are out there doing that. So, I think that that's another thing. I mean, we all know Mother of the Bride. We want to make her feel special and beautiful. There are challenges that come with that because our skin is different as it ages. So, I love that you're teaching that. I know that it's definitely a class that a lot of people are going to be able to utilize some great tips from. So I'm really excited. I think that's the one thing about America's Beauty Show that people don't always realize is not only are you going to be there, you know, around where people will be able to meet you and talk with you, but they're going to be able to learn from you, which is a whole different experience. So I'm really excited for you to do that, and just really excited for you to have that opportunity. So if people are going to America's Beauty Show, making sure that they are in your classroom. I know the schedule's already out, so that people can start planning their days, but definitely highly recommend coming to see you. Now, on the other side of this, as an attendee, what are you most excited about for ABS this year?
I am really excited for the whole the like wellness area. I really enjoyed that last year, and I think that it's a really great topic as far as like not just making sure that we're taking care of our clients' hair and our own mental health and whatnot, but also our like physical health. And I really enjoyed that section as somebody who is chronically ill and is also disabled. I have my hip replaced. I really enjoyed that because I feel like when I first started doing makeup, and I'm also an esthetician, so doing facials and stuff like that, I really was just so go, 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 go that I really just wore myself down. And it's been really hard to take that step back and make sure that I'm taking care of me. And I'm glad to see that that's being more talked about. I know that Bailey and Siri have their whole class that they usually do about burnout and things like that. Like, I just love that this is becoming more of a normalized topic, and it's not so don't talk about it, just go, 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 go. And you're probably going to have arthritis when you're 30 because you're in the beauty industry. So I'm really happy to see that this wellness area has been brought on as far, it's so largely with America's Beauty Show. I'm really excited for that. Additionally, I'm excited to just learn and discover new brands. I always love that about America's Beauty Show is there's always something new, and there's always something new from even brands that I already know. So I'm excited about that.
Yes, I know. It's going to be so fun. I'm so excited to all be together again and just to feel that I go like there's two things that I always am like so sure of. It's that I'm so excited and like ready to go. And then I know the exhaustion that is going to follow from going so hard on those 3 days, but it's just the best time. So I'm so excited to get to see you there and just thankful that ABS is the thing that brought us together. So I'm so happy about that. I want to talk to you a little bit about your experience in the beauty industry. So I want to talk about your journey. So you, like you said, you are an esthetician. So you went to beauty school to get an esthetician license. Now, oh, go ahead.
So I actually apprenticed for my esthetician license. So I kind of took a very not traditional route. I went to a makeup academy in Michigan because Michigan's laws were a little interesting where it didn't require you to have an esthetician license or a cosmetology license. Back when I was looking for it, you could just be either certified or freelancing without that. So I did that originally. I went there for 2 years to their bridal commercial program. And then afterwards, Michigan kind of tightened up on those laws a little bit. So I ended up apprenticing pretty much directly after that at a salon in Michigan that was owned by one of the instructors at that makeup academy. And so I went through that apprenticeship route, which I actually really, really enjoyed. And it's kind of something that's been interesting to see the difference of with my friends who have gone through traditional beauty school and myself who went through apprenticing, because I feel like, as opposed to some others that maybe had not so great of an experience with beauty school or found it to be really hard, myself, I found it only really difficult in the sense of like studying and things like that, and like bookwork wise, because I was in an environment that was very like loving and welcoming and hands-on and teaching. So I kind of have a little bit of a different experience from some of my friends, but I really like to have that to share with other people too, and just let them know that there are other ways to go about things.
Right, absolutely. There isn't just like one clear, perfect path, especially as we talk from state to state. The laws are also different. So, when was it that you decided, my forever goal is going to be a makeup artist? Is there something that motivated you, or was there a specific moment, or did you kind of always know that being a makeup artist is the route that you wanted to go?
So I definitely didn't think I was going to be a makeup artist right away. I actually wanted to be a veterinarian like my entire life. I knew what school I wanted to go to. I wanted to go to MSU. I wanted to go into their veterinary program. I knew the like grades that I needed to get there, and I knew everything. Unfortunately, though, I did end up having a hip condition, like I was discussing earlier, that I ended up having to have a surgery that made it to where I wasn't really able to do a lot of like heavy lifting. I wasn't able to do any like lunging or running or anything like that. And so I had to have an honest conversation with myself as to, do I really think that this is going to be something that's sustainable? Do I really think that this is something I'm going to be able to do? Or should I go a different route? And so I ended up thinking about like, well, what else do I like to do? I like to sing, but I'm probably not going to be the next Ariana Grande. But I realized like I like beauty, but I have a lot of hair, but I don't like doing hair. Um, Aesthetics seemed really daunting at the time. I really do wish I would have just gone right into it, but I'm glad the route I took, like I said, to go through the whole apprenticeship route. But I ended up deciding I wanted to do makeup, found that makeup academy and went and toured it. And it was kind of like a little version of what I feel going to America's Beauty Show, just like touring the school. I was just like, wow, these people get it. This is so like me, and other people feel this way. Like people love this stuff as much as I do. And, sitting on your floor with your totes and totes of makeup next to you, watching YouTube videos, pretending to be a YouTuber, like other people actually do this stuff. It was really like encouraging. So after I toured there, I was like, I don't even want to apply to traditional school. I want to do this. And I really just dove in and did as much as I could. And the school I attended, they offered traditional style makeup in the sense of like bridal, commercial, editorial, stuff like that. And then also special effects. I didn't want to do the special effects because blood freaks me out. So how did I think I was going to be a vet? I don't know. But I dove in fully and just completely committed everything to that like bridal commercial world. And I am so glad that I did, because it has truly been a dream.
So tell me what it was like going to work. So you were doing the apprentice job. So you were on shoots and you were at weddings. You were already being trained in that world, which is, the idea of the apprentice program. If you are in one that is operating as it should be, the idea is that you're getting that real world hands-on experience, which we know is so valuable.
Yes.
How did it lead to you going out on your own and starting your own business from there? And then, how did that lead into influencing?
Yeah, so when I was going to school at just the makeup school, I was working part-time for my dad, who owns a pizza place. And then after I got out of makeup school and I started doing my aesthetics apprenticeship, I was working part-time at a little boutique in my town, like a clothing shop, and doing that part-time. I was driving like an hour and a half a day to go down there to work, to come back to the other half of the day. I was committed. So I um, yeah, I was doing that. And I, after doing the apprenticeship, well, I guess kind of during, I started to take a couple of like bridal clients and whatnot. And I actually didn't fully know if like bridal was what I wanted to go to. I just love doing makeup. Well, I just fell in love with like the love of the day. You know what I mean? Like I just fell in love with like the whole just joy and everybody's happy. And it just was very fulfilling. Like that moment when you turn the mirror and like show them themselves like fully done up and they're like, oh my gosh, I don't know. That was just very fulfilling. So I started getting to where I was having to ask for more and more time off on the weekends with my 9 to 5 job with the boutique. So I ended up taking a little bit of a leap, which actually the boutique that I was working at had like a sister company that was a like a kitchen and home decor kind of store. They were letting me know like, hey, we are actually going to be moving as like a family. So this whole area is going to be available. Would you like to take over our lease? And I talked to my dad about it. I talked to my mom about it, talked to a bunch of people about it. And I was like, you know what? Yeah, like I do. So I opened it up. Very humble beginnings. I will not lie. Looking back at those beginning like photos and whatnot of like when I first opened, it's like the smallest little vanity. And like I had like 3 shelves of product. Like it was so small and so little, but it really just like grew and grew and grew to the point where I wasn't having to advertise anymore. I wasn't having to really do anything beyond just, hey, I'm open for 2020 weddings, or I'm open, well, not 2020, but I'm open for, weddings for the year. And it would just start pouring in. And it just got to the point where it really just was kind of doing its own thing. Like I don't know what happened. Word of mouth, I guess, was a huge thing. I hit the market at a really good time where there were not a lot of makeup artists in my area. So that was super helpful as well. And then I had heard about TikTok, and I had always kind of done like, not influencing stuff, but I had always done some sort of like posting on Instagram and Facebook, and I would do live videos on there. I would, I really tried to connect with my customers because I wanted them to know that it wasn't just like a faceless brand. Like I am me. This is, who you're going to get. And I really wanted to be very authentic with not just myself, but like even tips and whatnot so they could, improve their skills. So I feel like when I heard about TikTok, it was kind of just for fun. It was kind of like, oh my gosh, this is so dumb. Like, because TikTok wasn't like TikTok is today. And then I believe it was Teresa that I saw her videos first, I want to say, of doing like story times skits and whatnot. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's so funny. I actually have, being that I've worked weddings, a few stories of some things that have happened. And so I made one, did not really think anything of it. It was so bad. Looking back, I'm like, it's not even a good quality video. I don't know how. I don't know. But it actually did really well. And then I started to gain some followers. And I thought, you know what? I could really do something with this. I could really like not only create content that's entertaining and like, wow, this is like so dramatic. I really tried to take the approach of like, you don't have to, like, it wasn't just entertaining. Like you felt like you learned something at the end of the episode, like almost, and I'm going to say this in a way that maybe doesn't make a lot of sense, but almost like when you would watch like Disney shows when you were a kid, like the ending of the show always kind of like brought it all together where, you learned some sort of lesson. And I wanted that to be not only for just, like I said, entertainment, but also if there was like a bride watching to know like, hey, you know what? Maybe I should double check if like somebody packed the rings. Or if you were a makeup artist, like, hey, if somebody's like screaming in my face because they're upset about something, is it really that they're really that upset and it's me that's the problem? Or is it that this entire day has been chaos and they're just taking it out on me? I always wanted it to be like more than just entertainment. And I feel like it kind of has grown to be that. So,
Yeah, 100%. I feel like that's so evident and so clear. You're so good at, again, even talking about the classes you're teaching, like making sure that that the content that is there is useful, and purposeful. So I feel like if you are the kind of person that, and you have to be in your world, like hyper organized, like super efficient, those things matter in your job every day. So as you're putting yourself out there, it makes sense that you would be like, oh yeah, I just want to make sure there's purpose behind what I'm doing. It's not just like a silly little thing. And I think that the message, Kendra, too, and I think the longer like I don't know, I've just been in this, I'm just older than you guys. And so I've been doing this, of the job at the beauty school for almost 13 years, the beauty school Bobbi stuff for, I don't know, we've got to be going on like 6. Like, I don't know how long we've been doing this. Like, it's all running together. But the point is that you started. The point is that you just tried. And like all of those feelings that you mentioned very subtly as you were answering. But there is that imposter syndrome or whatever you want to call it of like, should I be doing this? It's kind of silly. It's kind of weird. It's kind of whatever. Like just pushing through to know that like, this is something I want to do and who cares? Like, who
yeah.
cares if I have 50 views or if I have 100,000 views? Like the point is to just be yourself and put yourself out there, because if you show up on social media as somebody that you are not, and then they meet you and they want to hire you for their weddings and stuff, and that's not who you are, they're going to be disappointed. So you just have to be yourself. And I love that about all of you, and you specifically. I feel like you are so like, you just are who you are. And you're like, this is who you're going to get. And it's great and it's amazing. Do you remember a moment where you really saw things kind of take off or start to change for you? Like, did you have a moment where you were like, okay, this could actually be something?
I don't think that I have like anything I could specifically like pinpoint it to, but I do know that I was doing those story times and skits and stuff before COVID. Um, and they did well, they did good. But during COVID, I kind of pivoted my content a little bit, actually, like completely a bit, to help my dad's business, because I ended up, like many of us, not being able to do services during that time because I'm an esthetician. Everything was to do with the face. I couldn't do anything. So I ended up going and working for my dad at his restaurant, and I started filming like he had this really weird pizza that he does, and it was kind of a joke. He does it for his friends. It's called the A-bomb, and it's basically like just a bunch of fried food on top of a pizza, and then it's like smothered in nacho cheese, and it's so ridiculous and crazy. That went viral. That was my first like viral moment. And so my content kind of like went around that for a little while, and then when I was able to come back to work, I was able to bring it back to me. And I already had a little bit of a base that was following me then because of that content, who then found my story times to be, funny, whatever. And they were watching those too. And then those ones just started to blow up. So once I was able to start making those kind of videos again, it just really started to go. So probably around late 2020, early 2021, I would say, is when things really started to go pretty big. And yeah, it's kind of just gone and gone and gone ever since then.
Now, you haven't, or at least from your content that we see, it doesn't seem like you have slowed down on weddings. I mean, did it ever pivot to like 50-50 where you're like, okay, I don't have to do as many weddings? What is your kind of, what are you doing now kind of with this? What is the transition after, like, I hate to use the word just like fame, but after fame, like what is the transition? Like, what does it actually change for you?
So for me, it's not that the opportunities haven't been presented to me that I could take this full time or that I could make this my full time career. And, I could have a management agency, I could have all this stuff and like be doing that. I just love weddings so much, and I love doing what I do so much that I really just can't see myself stopping that at least not fully. So while I have taken on some opportunities like America's Beauty Show and other beauty shows and stuff like that, like I've really leaned into the educational portion of it. That's kind of where I've been able to take myself beyond what I just do, you know, weddings and facials and stuff like that. So I'm happy for those types of opportunities that it's brought me, because I like doing that type of stuff. Like, while it's fun to create entertaining videos, I like using that almost as like a extension of just my normal posting, I suppose. So I think that I would say that I do mostly weddings are my bread and butter, is what I usually say. That's what I do a lot of. I did dial them back some just because of my health. Like, I don't think that I could do as many as I was doing. So right now I only do about 30 weddings a year. So that's what I've dialed back to. And then
But also saying only is a little crazy. Like, that's a lot still. There's
so
52 weeks in a year, and like 30 is a lot to still do.
before though was, I mean, before that I was averaging between 50 and 60 weddings a year. So it is a bit of a jump back for me.
Yeah,
but,
definitely.
I do still do, like, I'm in my store as we speak, and I do facials and eyebrows and eyelashes and all that stuff here on Wednesdays through Fridays, and then weekends are weddings. So those two days that I have off, like Mondays and Tuesdays, those are usually my filming days. So that's when I get a lot of my content filmed up for, you know, my skits and anything else. Sometimes I'll randomly film throughout the week, but I would say that TikTok's kind of like a part-time job for me. It's not like my full thing. It's not even 50-50. I would say it's just kind of part-time. And I love that, because I think that if me personally went fully into it, I can see how it would be really easy to fall into a negative headspace just because of like feedback. Whereas this, I feel like I'm doing well and I feel like I get a good reach, but I don't know if I would want to go like really, really far. Just in the sense of like, that's all that I do and that's all that I'm thinking about, because I don't know if I could do that.
Well, I want to tell you that even just like hearing the way that you have approached this, like, again, in my old age, like, it's so smart for you to really say, like, what do I want to do all the time? And there's not like, you don't have to follow anyone's path to do this. Like, you get to figure out, you know, what works for you. But I think sometimes people, especially early on in the career, are like, it has to be this or that no, you can really balance your schedule. And for this season of life where you are right now, this is what's working for you, with a lot of different factors that can change. I think the idea is that you need to be adaptable then and now and in the future. You know, like, you just have to be adaptable. Like, if you have these opportunities right now to go to these shows and to meet people in a network, like, you might take a different path than everyone else that's doing this, but it has to be in what's best for you. So I love that you get to mix it up. For me, that's just like what makes the most sense. It keeps me from burnout. It keeps me from getting bored. It keeps me from allows me to use my creative side a little bit more than if you were. I think that you could kind of say the same as far as like being only on social media, like that feedback being hard. Well, I think only being in weddings cannot always be positive as well. I mean, we talked about the greatness of like the love and the what, like, that's awesome. And that's like, hopefully that's 95% of what you have. But it can also be a very, like, you're putting yourself into someone's most stressful day of their life. And so I think that like only doing that, but I love the way that you've been able to do this all in like portions of what feels right for you. I think that that is the goal.
And I think that that's something that anybody, even if you're not wanting to be like an influencer per se, and you are a makeup artist, but you want to still share your work, I think having even that little bit of balance of, okay, on Mondays, I'm going to film a couple of videos of me doing my friend's makeup and I'm going to post those, and that's going to make me feel good that I'm getting my, you know, work out there. People might try to book with me because of that stuff, but it's not so content driven, because I feel like that is very much today's day and age. And I've seen that online too, is people think that to be a successful makeup artist, hairstylist, whatever, is you also have to be a successful content creator. And I can say for myself that that is definitely not the truth, because I was doing very well with weddings and business and stuff way before I was doing anything TikTok related. So I don't think that that's fully true that you have to do both. But I do think that it's nice as a way to, since we kind of use our creativity in our jobs, to have another way to be creative for that creative outlet and still be gaining from it for your business.
Yes, that was so perfectly said, by the way. Like, that is exactly it. Like, you really have to have, that balance, and there is, that way to do both. Now, what way would you say that this changed your business? Were you just were you getting more people from farther away that are like with your reach on social media? How did it change for you? Because I know we've talked, you're in Michigan. And so I know not all of your followers are in Michigan. So the people that are seeing your looks and like, hey, I want you on my wedding day. How'd you navigate that?
So I do offer bridal services within the continental US. I'm trying to be brave and go outside, but I've also not flown that much in my life before. So I'm working on that. But right now in the continental US, and I've done a couple weddings in, Illinois, in Ohio, Pennsylvania. Like, I'm getting around. Um, Obviously, cost is always a really big factor when it comes to travel and stuff like that, where it's a little bit difficult for some people to be like, hey, I'm in, California, but you have to travel to me. Like, that can be a little bit difficult. But I have definitely reached, I feel, everywhere on the world. I've gotten at least some sort of inquiry. I've gotten, Australia, would you come to me? I've gotten just like everything. I feel like at this point that I've been reached out to, which is amazing. But I'm blanking in a second. Mark that, Mark. Can you repeat that question for a second? My brain just went.
Yeah, no, for sure. No, totally. So what ways has it changed your business or how you operate your makeup business, or has it? How are you still doing things the same way that you would had none of the social media stuff happened?
So additionally, it's been helpful because most of my brides that I'm getting know me from TikTok. So it's been helpful in the sense that I feel like I have my group booking with me. I have people that like know me, they know my life. They've probably watched me get engaged, get married, all that stuff. They probably know my dog's name. Like, it's just, I like that. That's been really helpful. And it's honestly made it to where I don't have as many things story time wise personally that I'm having to share much anymore. It's more people submitting stories that I tell, because most of the time weddings are going great. People are being extremely kind to me. I'm getting gifts of things that people are like, I know that you have a million allergies, so I made sure to bring things that were safe for you and stuff like that. So it's really impacted just the overall quality of my weddings, to where I feel like I'm not just a random person on somebody's wedding day, but I'm somebody, like one of my brides the other day, she was here getting a facial, and she said, I'm just so honored that I know you only take 30 weddings a year and I get to be one of those. I would have moved mountains for you to be my makeup artist. And I'm just like, I'm literally this girl from Michigan, and we are in such a small town, and that's insane to me. But it's so, like, if she's honored, oh my gosh, I'm so honored. I can't believe that. And that's really what TikTok and social media and becoming an influencer has done for me. It's just helped me find my people. It's elevated my experience in the business to where I want to give even more of a better experience to my clients, because I don't know. It's just made me, it's made me happier, I guess, if I should say, in the end. Obviously, it's brought me clients, but it's brought me good quality clients and people who respect me.
It is the thing that it's hard to like put a finger on of what it is. When I come back from ABS or come back from all of these like positive things, it's hard to put your finger on what that is. But I think, Kendra, like, you so much are just like a light, and you just are joy. Like you truly are like the happiness. I mean, I think you're just like this sweet, like pure pot, like that comes across on your social media and in real life. And I think that that's special. I think you just have a really special light that, needs to be shown. And I think that you do that in such a way that obviously it's going to, impact your brides and impact who you get to work with. And so I think that, coming into the hairstylist world, I think that there's sometimes is like this type, and as aesthetics is growing and as makeup is growing, we're getting to see different personalities. And I will tell you that I am so thankful to have you and like your gorgeous smile. They're a part of this team because I
You.
think it really adds something special. I think everybody, the group also, like everyone has their own little spice that they add in and their own little personalities. And I think America's Beauty Show has done a really good job of allowing you all to be that, to really just show up as who you are, and they don't give you all directions. And I know that just from working behind the scenes with them on the team, I know that they're not like, oh, hey, Kendra, when you show up, can you make sure that you're this?
Yeah.
It's not in a box. It's like be yourself, have fun, and go do your thing.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. And I feel like, yeah, we get along very well because a lot of us knew each other obviously before um, meeting at the beauty shows and whatnot. But it really is just so funny to see everybody's personalities just kind of work together. And I guess it really just kind of is a true testament to this is for everyone. Like everybody can be a part of this, and you're not too weird or too people pleasery like me or too anything to not do well in this career and not make friends in this industry. Because I mean, some of us are so different from each other. Like, could you imagine me dressing up like how Siri dresses up in her really cool outfits? One, I would be drowning in them because she's like 6 foot tall. But it's just so different, and it's just so cool to see that while we're all so different and we're all so ourselves, that doesn't clash, and that doesn't mean that we can't do well.
Yeah, it's weird and it's really rare. And I think that the only way to understand what we're even talking about at all, if you're listening, is to be there, is to be at the show and get to see the group and get to see other people there that aren't even like just the people that you meet that are at the booths, or just the other people that are at the Global Image Awards or teaching classes or just on the stages with the product companies. There are 1 million different people that you are able to connect with and be like, oh, that's my person. And I think that, again, I love us and love our group and like all of those things. But I think just being there at all in any way, like you'll find your people, because what I do know is that America's Beauty Show does have a way of just like you said, you just showed up. I just showed up. Like, and now we're a part of this. And I think that, that's the advice I can give. If you haven't gotten your tickets yet, definitely need to be there. Make sure you're in Kendra's classes. I think that even if you're not a makeup artist and you're a hairstylist, or you have someone in your salon that does makeup, I think they need to be in your class, because this idea of the mature makeup look and how to create that look is going to be helpful, and maybe even just for like our own skin.
I mean, yeah, I think that anybody could take something from my class, and honestly, so many classes at America's Beauty Show. I think that people don't realize how many classes are going on. And yeah, I mean, I'm a makeup artist, and there are a lot of like hair related topics and things like that. But when I'm looking for classes, obviously I'm going to look for like makeup things and stuff like that, and skin and whatnot. But I almost always sit in on like Siri and Bailey's class when it's something that's more talking about like mental health and like making sure you're avoiding burnout or whatever the topic may be. Like there are so many topics there that aren't even like, yes, they're industry related, but they're not even just like your specific niche of the industry. Like it's kind of industry wide. So I think that there's something for everybody at the show. And even even if not, just being there for like discovering new products. If you can go to the Global Image Awards, I was a judge of it this year. There are some wow entries to the Global Image Awards this year. You don't want to miss those, because there were some that I literally had to walk away from my laptop and come back because I was like, this is actual, like, I don't know how somebody's brain just did this. So if you are, looking for new inspiration, even, it's just such a good show. I really do recommend it. And it's always fun. It's always a party. And what's better than being around a bunch of people who also, like I said before, just get it. So.
Mhm. I love that. Well, I cannot wait to see you there. So, Kendra, where can we follow you? Where can we see what you have going on?
Yeah, so I am on TikTok, obviously at Kendra_Matthies. I'm also on Instagram and YouTube at Kendra Matthies. And I do have a Facebook that I'm not super active on, but I'm also on there at Kendra Matthies as well. And yeah, you can look forward to seeing me at a couple of beauty shows throughout the year, but especially seeing me at America's Beauty Show.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being here
Yes.
today. I can't wait
Thank
to
you,
see you, and we
Bobbi.
will talk soon.
Oh, I can't wait. We're all going to look amazing.
I want to clip that.
Yes.
We're all going to look amazing.
Yes. Well, girl, your outfit last year, are you kidding me? Your dress,
Oh
I
my
was
gosh,
obsessed.
thank you. I don't know what I'm going to do this year. I'm a little scared, but we'll go shopping and figure it out.
Yeah. It'll be good.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Kendra.
Bye.
Thank you all so much for listening today. If you are listening on podcast, make sure you're giving us a 5-star review. Make sure you comment, follow, like, do all the things. We love you all so much. And make sure you follow us on Beauty and Style Network. Bye, guys.